This is the Belly Scratcher Minnow 2.0. We've updated some of the materials, we've changed it a little bit, but it's still an awesome fly, so check it out.
That's a big
Okay, this pattern is very near and dear to my heart. It's the Belly Scratcher Minnow. It's been out for a long time, and I was just looking at the tutorial and realized that we've done a few changes to this. So we're just going to knock this out. Hope you enjoy it. We're starting out with a size 2 fulling mill streamer stripper hook. It's a really good hook. It's Teflon coated, so it pokes the fish really nice. You got to make sure you get some really good layers down because it is kind of a slippery hook. So I'm just going to kind of dress my hook shank to make sure that I have a real good base because of the slippery hook. And the first thing I'm going to do is this fly has beads that are lashed to some wire to make the fly keel properly. The reason I use beads instead of barbell eyes is because I want the head of the fly and the whole fly to be very slender. And with barbell eyes, you have to have a thick fly. All right, so I'll show you that as we get going. But to put the weighting system on, I'm just going to take some of this, articulation wire or Senyo's or intruder wire, whatever you want to get. And we're just going to tie it in like this and take the front little tab and bend it back and double it over. There's a lot of force going on with this, and that can pull out if you're casting aggressively. And also right here where I cut that wire, it is going to be sharp, so I'm going to take a lot of tension off my thread and cover it up. If you leave tension on your thread, there's a good chance you'll cut it. And I just bend that up so it's like a 90-degree angle. This part of the fly can be a little bit maddening because you have this piece of wire in the way, but for the most part it will just kind of bounce out of the way. The body's going to be ripple ice stub in this mother of pearl color. It's a pearl that has greens and blues and reds in it. It's a really cool combo. And then this dubbing is actually kind of crinkly, so kind of a cool effect there too. I'm going to build a dubbing loop. The other fly called for, chenille. So this one's going to be a little bit more slender. So I'm going to make a dubbing loop, but I'm going to double that up with my thread. This thread is actually really cool. It's the Vivus Power Thread in 70 denier. And it's maybe one of the strongest 70 denier threads that I've played with. So all right, so I'm going to take my thread and just wrap it all the way through this and let it hang about right here. Put my dubbing loop tool in. You can use whatever tool you like. And we'll just build up a loop here, just a little bit of dubbing at a time. And this will all kind of bind down a little bit, and that's fine. We're going to brush it out after we wrap it forward. So about like that much. And then I just let that hang on my finger, kind of like that. We'll twist it up. This little CNF one's good. Smain also makes a really nice one that will do that pretty quickly. And then from here, I'm just going to brush this out. All right, so I just have a little piece of Velcro on this Stomfo tool. Pick it out just a little bit. And we're going to be dirty with this. We're going to wrap it rotary style. You can see how that wire just kind of wants to pop out of the way. So there we are. Nice little minnow body. Oh, my dubbing twister decided its job was done. All right, buddy, you can take a rest now. All right, once I have that all in place, I'm going to take this dubbing and I'm going to brush it up, which is really going to be down because this fly ride's inverted, and maybe back. So just like that is how we're going to set that up. I know it's really weird at this point, but trust me, this will be a cool fly by the time the video is done. So this is where the weighting system comes from. I'm going to take one 4 mil bead and one 3.5 mil bead. And they can be slotted, they can be countersunk, they can be really anything. It doesn't really matter because we're going to just put those on this wire. So I'm going to start out with the smaller bead and put the larger bead on second. So just like that. And I'm going to fold those over pinch my wire and catch it, snug it up a little bit, and then I'll double that wire over on top of itself when I'm ready to tie this off. Just like that. Okay, so that is the underbody for the Belly Scratcher Minnow. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some rabbit on it. I just have this natural grizzly color, I believe. Usually I'll get the leather, and it'll be roughly, a hook shank worth of leather that I'm going to put on there. And I'll just poke that through with the hook and take it out of the vise, fish it down, and then I'm going to put it back in the vise, but upside down this time, because that's how the rest of the fly is going to be tied. All right, so once we have this here, we'll pull that rabbit forward, make a little part, use some spit. I'm just going to say it, Brigham. I'm not going to say I'm going to moisten my fingers anymore. I just licked my fingers and moistened that rabbit, Brig. So is it okay if I say spit?
Yeah.
Sick.
Saliva?
Saliva? Yeah, but Brigham, just because you said that, the vibe got killed and I broke my thread. Like I said, folks at home, that little sharp wire end just nuked me. But we will fully blame that on Brigham. In the comment section, I would like you to describe what Brigham's punishment should be for killing my float. I want like Emperor's New Groove stuff here. All right, so we're tied in. I'm going to stick these little Renomed scissors right behind the leather. That's why I like these. I can just stick that little blade in, slide it in right on top of the leather, cut the other side, and it doesn't cut any of the hairs. All right, so we're pretty dialed. We're ready for the head at this point. I know what you're thinking. This looks like a terrible fly, and your little sister could tie it. She could. She's actually a really good tyer. You didn't know that. So 2 colors on the head. The top color, and to be clear, I use Bruiser Blend on this, but the Bruiser Blend Junior. So I have the dispenser. This is the dark color dispenser, and that's where this Alpha Wolf color is. This is kind of a grayish, brownish, blackish, like the color that an Alpha Wolf should be. And then this is the light color pack. So just like that, and it has all these fancy colors. So the top color is going to be Alpha Wolf, which is this guy. Bottom color is going to be cream. So once I get some dubbing, I like to take a healthy chunk and start preening it. I might not use all this because you really don't want too much on this fly. But as I start, kind of lining it with my fingertips, then I'll pinch it together and kind of roll it to see how I end up. So that's my chunk of Bruiser Blend dubbing. I can pinch it about right here and tie that in to the fly. Really cinch it down tight because we will be brushing that with the comb. So it should sit just like this. We're going to turn it upside down, and we're going to do the same thing with cream. Okay, so here's a little pinch of cream, and I'm going to tie that in. You notice I'm not tying it right in the middle. And then as I wrap this forward, I want to make sure that my thread wraps are seated as close to the hook eye as possible. Because if you have any gap there, it kind of makes the fly look a little wonky. So the next step is I'm going to take these and I'm going to flare these out. So you can see the top's flared, the bottom's flared. And now I'm going to pull the top one back, just going to push that over, bring my thread up, hold it, and then push the bottom one under. And now my thread's in front, and I can whip finish and get rid of it. Again, this is 70 denier Vivus Power Thread, and my good buddy Marcos at Hairline sent me some, maybe even on accident. No, I think he did it on purpose, but it's really good stuff. All right. So as it sits now, that still doesn't look like anything. It looks like a schnauzer that's like right before the grooming appointment and looks terrible. Okay, so let's fix that schnauzer. What we're going to do is we're going to grab it on the sides and we're going to cover up those kind of bald spots. So if I take the sides and I just wiggle it with my finger back and forth, it'll move fibers to the sides. And now if I take a comb and brush it out, we should be pretty good. So I'm just going to brush this out and you'll see that the head just kind of starts to take shape. Okay. So I brush it out really nicely before I get my fingers involved, and then I'm just going to kind of push it all back. So now you can see a really nice bait fishy looking head is taking shape. And now the fun part starts. So I like to doctor these up a little bit. And it's a mix between Sharpies, Prismacolors, and Chart Pack markers. But this is just like a sepia colored Prismacolor. It's one of my favorite colors. And so I'm just going to kind of come here with this one and make the head a little darker and then just kind of push that back in. Now this is Bob Ross at its finest. This is high art. So really put on that artistic cap, if you will. All right. Once I have a little bit of marker loaded up, I can take my fingers and push that back in, and that blends that nice into that dark gray. So I'm going to do that a few more times just to kind of get that color. You know, stuff in nature isn't always just one color. It always blends. So get creative with that stuff. All right. Now I'm going to take black, and I'm just going to do the same thing, but I'm going to keep the black right in the middle of the head. And that'll even give it a little more depth. So it goes from black to sepia to gray. So that's a really cool looking head right there. Now let's play with the underside of this. I'm going to take what is this one? Pale yellow. Amarillo pálido. Brigham. Este es un amarillo. Brigham doesn't speak Spanish.
No sé.
All right. So I'm just going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to start with the pale yellow marker. Now, these are my dark fingers. These are the ones that people won't shake my hands in public because they don't know that I've been playing with markers. These are my light fingers. See? So I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to smear this with my other hand. Otherwise, you get a bunch of streaks on your fly. Or you could probably be like a normal person and like rinse it off of your hands. All right. So once that's there, we will now take mineral orange. You ever heard of a mineral orange, Brig?
Oh, yeah.
I have never heard of it.
Carnelian.
Whoa, Brigham's making words up
Look
now.
at that.
I'm just painting this in here now. I'm going to take my light color fingers and I'll blend those together. So you have kind of a cool yellowish belly looking thing here. All right. At this point, we're going to put some eyes on. The last time we did a Belly Scratcher Minnow, we tortured you with trying to figure out how to use Terramender. And Terramender's great. I like it still. But it is a fickle beast at best. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to fire up some gel super glue, the old Loctite. So I'm going to get just a little bit. And the reason why it should be gel is because the gel stuff stays right where you put it. It's not going to try to absorb into your fly. And then I just have some of these little super pearl eyes. I can't remember what size, but this recipe will be in the description. There will be a link for it. So just place that eye right over that glue, and I'm going to do it on the other side, and then I'll squeeze them all together. All right. So once we're here, I'm just going to take those and squeeze them together, and that super glue will kind of seat the eye to the core of the fly, like into the hook and the dubbing and everything. So it's going to be hard for a fish to knock those off. Trust me, they'll probably fall off at some point just because all eyes do, but this is a really good way to keep them there. As you can see, I got a little bit of like a super glue on the outside of the eye. So if I just come in here, if I have any like finger marks on the eye, I can just put a little layer of resin right on top of there and doctor it back up. It's almost like a body shop for flies, Brig. We're taking the scratches out of the eyes. Now, if you don't have big sausage fingers like me, you won't have to worry about this, but this is how I'm willing to sacrifice for you guys. You know, extra steps. All right, so we're almost done, but I like to add a little bit more detail as well. So I'm going to take a black fine point Sharpie, and I'm just going to draw like a little gill plate line, you know, and then you can add a little bit of red onto the gill plate line as well. But anyway, I just poked myself really hard. That's pretty much it. You know what? If we were going to do gill plates, let's show them what's going to look like. So right behind the little black line, I'm just going to come in there and just add a little tiny bit, just like that. So anyway, that is the Belly Scratcher Minnow. And this fly was designed because a good buddy of mine, old Brian Gregson, was going to Argentina, and he needed something that had a really slim profile but would still get down really well. So you can put as many beads or as few beads on the bottom as you want. So you can really make this fly sink fast, or you can fish it, you know, just like a normal person. Anyway, there you go. That's the fly, Belly Scratcher Minnow. Check it out on our site. It's also available through Fulling Mill.